definitely wasn't that.
Only 33. Come on now.
No, it really was 32. I was counting. I'm yelling, unmute, 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 as if it's my computer's going to listen to me.
Your neighbor's like, what? Your neighbor's gonna be like, oh, he's live again? Okay.
Yeah. My neighbors love me. I think. I hope.
Allegedly.
Supposedly. So, let's address the elephant in the room here, Alex. We've
It's your birthday.
no, we've been around for a year, off and on for a year.
Off and on, but for a year.
Mostly off. It was not a good consistent year, but we tried.
It just showed up.
So to celebrate, I think we should do two things. First of all, talk about the fact that the auto green screen keys out my mic 60% of the way. So that's why I keep my hand like this. And two, talk about some of your favorite things we've accomplished in this last year before I hopefully get redemption on the trivia world.
So my big one is that we had one super viral clip, and then we never did anything else with it after that.
You're right. My take that Taysom Hill, elite football player.
No, that should be a fact. You know, that's the 11th commandment. You know,
I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna eventually add the hashtag at the end of every podcast starting for year 2. Taysom Hill is elite. That's gonna be the hashtag we run with.
I'm gonna run back what I said. Is the when we were running that Jamar Chase take of that being the biggest. We couldn't have timed that release of that more perfectly because that take was part of such a bigger point that we were already talking about, and everybody just ran with that opener that we had.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think it was you had a solid take again. You being more on the creative, I'm gonna say marketing side. I realized that you did more like the edits. You didn't actually make the marketing. You made the marketing material. You didn't necessarily make the marketing plan. But kind of how you looked at it, and again, me coming from a sales side of things, looking at it and being like, well, you have to understand that Cincinnati is a small market team. It's not saying they're a bad team. It's not saying it's a bad city. I fucking love this city. I've never been happier anywhere else, and I've been in big market cities. But you have to compete at a different level with different things. Cali guy, how's it going? And that's kind of where my point of the take was, and I think your point of the take was how we said it, and I think people missed that because, I mean, partly because the way we edited it was intentional so that people would miss that point and try to go get the full context.
And a lot of it too is just that's common practice. If you look at a lot of different podcast clips, you only take the core. This is what's gonna get people to click on this, and then you're only looking at 5-6% of what we actually said in that whole exchange. So it's only like because we're talking about NFL holdouts on a much larger scale, and the fact that I've seen this before as a Steeler fan, so seeing a smaller market team deal with that, and they're dealing with it again right now. If you're somewhat attuned to what's going on with your neighbors, but
the construction on the road that pisses me off. It makes me have to go the long way home.
No, the payment dispute with your neighbors across the street, the Cincinnati Bengals.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. People be
look, if you're the if you're the GM, you would have signed both of their rookie and Trey Henderson by now. You said, "Look, here's your money. Show up."
If I was exactly, I'd be like, "All right, this is what we can do."
Cali guy, what's going on?
This is what we can do within the salary cap. You've been a big part of this for a while, so I'm gonna give you a little more money. Let's be real, but show up and fucking do your job.
that's kind of like what my point was with the whole thing as a whole. But it's almost like my big thing about that was we kind of even when I think when we were kind of I was throwing it together and I was telling you like this is gonna be like a very clickbaity thing because of everything that came out around when we posted that.
Yeah, we caught the timing well. I think you saw a little bit of it. We were way ahead of the curve on calling Taysom Hill actually good at football. Um, first of all,
You
I'm
people just gotta lock in on that too. So
I'm just saying I've had that take for 5 years now, and you guys laughed at me when I gave you that take when I was at the arena team with you, proved you wrong, and now you're seeing more people come out with that take, and I'm still right. Just saying.
I think what's funny. I think what's funny too is like I was looking through the YouTube comment on that the other day, and one person actually like was like legitimately like this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows ball for a second here.
No,
It
I
was,
just know Taysom Hill.
but if you knew him personally, that would just be a whole another
Yeah,
situation. But
no, exactly. And then I think we caught the timing really well with the 1919 Black Sox. Obviously, that's a much more recent thing, being in the last
yeah, and
couple
I
of
think
weeks here.
I do think like I think with the virality, I think that one has been my favorite take because you again you could have easily we could easily gone on the Pete Rose Cincinnati sports trend like we did that first time, but kind of going on that other side of like this is still significant for this other reason of this whole
Well, so
because you're kind of writing you're handling two scandals at the same time
I
almost.
mean, my take was very much born from they were banned for life. Their life is over. Why are they not allowed back? So the fact that it finally got um, reversed, so to speak, was one of my favorite things, and I'm amped about that. And that's why, again, there is some selfishness being a avid player of video games, knowing that if you're in the Hall of Fame, you're eligible to be in MLB The Show, and I just think it'd be hilarious to have Shoeless Joe Jackson on my team.
Yeah,
So there is
that's
some bias to it, but at the same time, like these guys, if you to basically reiterate my take, if you deserve, and again, especially using the 1919 Black Sox, if you and your merits alone deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, then you should be able to be in posthumously, like even if you were banned for life, because you were banned for life, your life is over. Like, let's honor you on the field. We know there are definitely guys in the NFL Hall of Fame at least, and there's probably guys in every Hall of Fame that are not good people and didn't do good things, but on the field, on the court, um, on the playing surface, they were elite, and that's where the whole point of that take comes from for me.
yeah. And I think I'll I have the Taysom Hill take and the Jamar take pinned on Instagram last time I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have those pinned again, but I'm gonna make a reel out of this too. So
Yeah, no,
when
and
that reel goes up,
if you can pin
refer to
the
that.
Black Sox one too, I know that's much more recent, but kind of those are our.
Yeah.
I also want to try to keep our pins to like 3 or less. Like, hey, these are our 3 best things. In our opinion,
I
our
think
3 best things.
I think three is the max. So I'll have all three of those pins. So hopefully,
Yeah, and I mean, if you
anyway,
can have more
I,
pins, uh, no need. Like, let's try to
I
keep
think
it to our top 3 things.
I think we can rotate those out too. So, but I think with just where we're at, and we're still a smaller brand. I'm gonna call us a brand.
I was gonna say, do you want to call us a
Like,
brand?
like in the grand scheme of it, right? Like we know that we're at a point where the only way for us is keep climbing. So the
Keep
more
doing what
stuff
we're
we put out,
doing.
like we're not going anywhere as far as we know. So
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing, the other part of my take, or not part of my take, something that I know I've talked to you off chat here in the last week or so about is, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. How do you feel about brands kind of hitting the nostalgia vein and re-releasing old old styles in a new way and calling it a new product? I'm
Not
specifically
quite.
I'm specifically highlighting the
Oh, I know. It's just,
um, Nike Soccer using the T90 kind of branding, how that's come back in a limited release. That being said, I will say T90s were my favorite shoe that I wore in any point of the 14 years I played soccer, and even when I ref, like the T90 was the best shoe I wore. I wore probably 17 or 18 different pairs of shoes in that time, but the Nike T90 was the best one.
I
Um,
think it's a
and I think it was just clean branding, and it looked really clean, which is why
at
I'm
least for
not
me.
upset that the Premier League ball for the end of the season was in that old T90 wrap. It was the new ball, but with the T90 logos wrap. Um,
Oh,
and
you had the branding on it. Yeah,
yeah, it didn't have like the T90 logo, but it was that you've seen the T90 soccer ball. That I can
yeah,
just tell you've seen it. And then they're bringing some of the national teams are having like a third jersey. Some of the other Nike teams are having like a third jersey that's more of a retro using the T90 like kit designs. And I love it.
yeah.
I I think it was just a really good look, so I was mad when they got rid of it. So I'm really happy that even if it's coming back in this weirdly limited capacity, um, I'm happy about it, and I am gonna break down and eventually get a pair of the indoor shoes when I can find one.
I think at least on my end, like my way of thinking is like it's way more commonplace than you think. It's all how it's presented. Like if your brand loyalty goes back decades, you'll be able to pinpoint the origin of it and how they're reusing it. So like some colorways can expand on multiple teams. So it's kind of weird. Like I have a pair of shoes that are that can match the Brazilian national team's kit, the green and yellow kit that they have,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes with my Oregon Ducks jersey that I have. So it's like again, I refer to it as an Oregon kit, as like an Oregon outfit. I don't, and then I have another pair of shoes to go with this hat, and then I have another pair that goes with my Steelers jerseys and my Bruins jerseys. So it's like I don't associate a single colorway or a single wrap with one thing because I've seen one feature of a shoe get reused on a bunch of other pairs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like, let's try putting brands will go through this period where they put one design on a whole line of shoes. So if you look, actually, I'm going to send you a picture really quick. See if I can find it.
But yeah, no, that's just one of those things that I wanted to get your opinion on it, just
Yeah.
because
So
I'm super happy
yeah,
about it.
because
Like I said, the T90 in that era of branding again, early 2000s. That's when I'm starting to really get into the game. I'm starting to play. I'm learning to play.
so that's why you'll see
So
this is what Jordan is synonymous. Jordan's synonymous with this too. Is that that's why the whole like retroing of shoes is such a thing. Just in general, it's not like a
no,
Nike Jordan thing.
I
It's a whole
no,
industry thing.
I was gonna say the reason I brought up the T90 is just because it's my favorite shoe, like that I've ever worn. That being said,
Yeah. So like,
the people that did it first, as far as like they brought back their old style on a new shoe. Adidas, honestly, Adidas in the Predator line, they brought back the bungee on the tongue to cover your laces, which was a great look. I liked that look too, but I just thought Predators were super uncomfortable shoes. I had friends that wore them, but um, the reason I mentioned the T90 is quite literally because it's my favorite shoe. I wore I think I wore all four versions of the T90 at some point in my career. So they're using the like the second version is what they used for the basis of the indoor shoe. The third was the one that I wore most notably in high school, where it had like the 4 or 5 shot pads up the side, but the offset lacing and everything it was awesome. It made me feel so much cooler than I was.
Again, you'll see brands do this in maybe a year, 18-month minimum, where or I think, to my knowledge, at least from what I've seen, it's usually every 3, 4, maybe even 5 years they'll bring back a certain edition of a shoe.
Yeah, so like
Just
again,
because demand's so high.
the T90 specifically, I can tell you it was discontinued in like 2014 or 2015, so it had been 10 years since we had seen a new T90.
Again, the wrap of the T90. I mean, they could reuse that wrap and put it on just rebrand it under a new name. You know what I mean? Like, you'll know it as a T90. It probably will have a new name.
What did I switch to? I switched to the CTR because the CTR shoe was the other one that had the similar offset lacing. I really liked the offset lacing when I played soccer on the shoe. So having, instead of it lacing up the middle, lacing kind of up the side, the top side of your foot, it was a much nicer feel. It was awkward to get used to, but once I got used to it, I hated it. Like, I forget what I have now for my indoor shoes. I paid like $3 for them, so I don't care. But nothing will ever compete with the T90, in my opinion, for a soccer shoe. And so I was just super happy when I found out it had come back in a limited drop. I was just mad that I had missed the limited drop. And that was kind of where my joking text came to you from. Like, dude, if you had told me that it was happening, like, because if you had known, obviously, I don't expect you to know.
I mean, again, I know certain things, but I'm at the core of this conversation. I'm a consumer just as much as every other.
No, so the reason I thought you would know was not because of where you work; it's because you're really dialed into the shoe game. That was actually. I'm not
a sneakerhead by any means. I know people that are way more tapped into it than I am. Like, if I like something, I'll buy it. But I usually buy, like, I don't go out of my way to go buy, like, crease guards and stuff, because I like to wear my shoes, and shoes are meant to get creased with wear. That's kind of how that works.
No, crazy, I agree.
Crazy idea, I know, but
I agree 100%. But
absolutely. Okay.
That was quite literally. Yeah. So I think.
Do you want to segue to Family Feud, or?
I think it's time. I did not load up any sounds, by the way.
All right. So I will. So let's do this. All right. We're gonna plan our edit in real time here. I'll cut out this extra edit talk real quick.
Put up the all-time scoreboard. Like I said, you have a 4-5 lead on 10 points. It's gonna be for me. It's in my right corner. For you, it's in the top left corner.
Yeah. Can you see if I can? Can we thumbnail this real quick? No, whatever.
It's fine. I can.
I'll thumbnail it in the edit, but I'll get it.
We got this.
It's fine.
But so I'm down 1 point. I'm down 1 point, which is a little disappointing. But
it
was a tiebreaker. More importantly, we both are well under 50% because those are out of 11. So.
Do we know sports? We try.
Yeah, we try.
We try to know sports. That's the whole concept of this. So I came up with the idea of having a random number generator for the number of questions I have. Oh. So should we go to overtime, I have a bonus, whatever I have left, my bonus question.
Oh, so I wrote 10 new questions and had 2 bonus questions ready to go.
All mine are new. It's just what if we need overtime, whatever I don't use.
Like I said, I have
10
new questions.
You have 1 Sinclair worth of questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we gotta go off about that later.
Yes, we'll explain that.
We need to lobby a congressman about.
Alrighty. So, since
On,
you have
let's
the
do this.
lead, would you
I was gonna do a
like?
coin flip generator, but
I was
you can
gonna
do that.
say we'll give you a champion's advantage here. Do you want to ask first or get asked first?
I'll ask, and then
You'll
we'll,
ask. Awesome, because
yeah.
that's actually relevant because I need to know which scoreboard I have to pull up so I can potentially edit it. Alrighty,
Fire.
sir.
All right, let's
It's
get
on
the
you.
generator up here.
Oh, so you're gonna ask I'm asking it down the order I wrote them.
See, you don't know what my order is, so it makes it way more. So I could have them in order. It could not be.
Fair. I want you to know I have exactly one true false question and one multiple choice question for you in my 10.
Okay. Okay. So are you ready for this?
I am born ready.
Okay. As of MLB's at the conclusion of MLB's rivalry weekend, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Pittsburgh Pirates have played each other head to head for a total of 2,318 games, with a record of 1,230 wins to 1,088 losses. Who leads the all-time series?
It is the Pirates.
Yes, sir.
I did actually read that stat the other day.
All right.
All right, Alex, don't worry. I started you off nice and easy. As referenced last time, Indiana won the 1940 national championship in men's basketball. Who did they beat? List all three teams.
All three.
The three just in the tournament. The three just in the tournament. Because there's a lot of teams they beat that year. But who are the three schools they beat? I have it in order. You don't have to get it in order.
Wait, didn't you tell me what they were?
I actually told you who they beat to qualify for the tournament, who they beat in round one. So only one of those two will help you.
Well, they beat Springfield, didn't they?
Yep. That was the one.
Okay, that narrows it down significantly from the rest of that field. I think about who was around. There'll be some very D3 school in this answer.
Both the schools are D1. Current D1 schools.
All right. I'm going to stay in-state. I'm going to throw Butler in there.
No, wrong.
Damn it.
It was Donetsk and Kansas.
Oh, Duquesne?
Duquesne. Sorry, I cannot pronounce it. But yeah.
No, neither can I.
Yeah, they beat. So it was Springfield, Duquesne, then Kansas.
All right. Sir, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Which Massachusetts Pirates receiver set the single-season receiving record?
You see, the immediate answer wants to be Thomas Owens.
Okay.
But I think it's a trick.
Could be, might not be. Might be that easy, might not be.
I'm gonna say it was Carrington.
Sir, that is not correct.
Who was it? Was it actually Owens?
No.
Good. I'm glad that
I did ask Drew that same question.
Uh-huh.
He got it wrong. So
who was the right answer?
Devin Brown in 2018. He had 1,059 yards.
He was good.
Zico came close. I think Zico actually they don't have the
I knew it wasn't Zico.
I think I gotta look his. I gotta go back and actually look at this. Teal's on the roster last time I checked. I love how I still go to this website that I helped build. I go to. Oh, they don't have the 2021 stats on here. Fire.
But yeah, I was I kind of forgot about like even though I went to a lot of the games in 18, I didn't think that it was going to be. I thought it would have been one of the IFL teams. I kind of immediately
Yeah,
discounted the NAL version of the Pirates.
that's fair. I do want to look this up before we proceed so I can give you his career high. There are a few Arena Football Center questions on here, by the way.
That's fine.
See if I don't even know if they have. 2021. Oh, why does it got tiny font? This isn't a question, but you remember in the Louisville?
The Louisville Extreme, yeah, they played at the KFC Yum Center. Their game they were supposed to play at the Pirates got canceled because I was supposed to go. That's the only reason I know.
They had one against.
They played.
I thought they had one at home.
No, they played at the Yum Center.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's how we got. That's how Stout got.
The one that was supposed to be played at the DCU was canceled because I had bought tickets to that game, or probably my buddy Phil had bought tickets to that game, but we didn't get to go. Regardless.
Can't read names. So 2022 TO had 936 yards.
Okay, I mean, so he was close at least.
I think Zico was closer last year.
Okay, but still, that's solid. We're gonna move on, Alex.
All right.
Question number 2 for you today, and number, I guess, 14 overall, right? True or false? The Buffalo Sabres have more playoff series wins since the 2004-2005 NHL lockout than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's true, isn't it?
It is true. The Sabres have 4, and the Leafs have 2.
I saw that the other day. Yeah.
I wasn't sharing it with you because that was the second thing I had written on the list. By the way, I wrote the first question the day after.
I saw that meme the next day.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping that meme. I intentionally wasn't circulating that meme. I tried.
I'm gonna stay in the same vein here, but we're going, I believe, to the AFL.
Okay.
What 2 franchises are tied with the most Arena Bowl championships?
Arena Bowl. I want to say it is Arizona, the Rattlers.
Yep, Rattlers are 1.
And the other one, I think it's Albany. I thought they had 3 when they won the 2018 one. And I know 3's not a lot, but it is.
I gotta find it.
The Rattlers was the easier of the 2 halves. Who did you think it was?
So my source said the champions, the other were the Tampa Bay Storm.
Okay, no, I believe that. I 100% believe that. Because I think Tampa Bay had 4, so 4 or more. So I 100% I would believe that.
All right. So you're going.
Yep. I'm just making sure the scoreboard loads, Alex, so that if you get it right. All right. Which team did the United States beat in the final game of the 1980 Olympic ice hockey tournament?
Soviets.
No, wrong. That was what would be today's silver medal game. They actually played Finland in the next game and The Soviets would get the silver medal, though. It's a very weird. It was the way the tournament was structured. It was by most points once you got to the medals round, and the Finns wound up finishing third, and the Swedes finished fourth, I believe. But if Finland is actually the last team that Team USA plays, they just don't talk about it because it's way less impressive than beating the Soviets.
Bastards at Disney lied to us.
No, that is not true. Actually, if you watch the credits of the movie, it does say
I'm
2 days later. Literally right after it says 2 days later, they would go on to beat Finland. The Soviet Union would get silver. Disney did not lie to us. They just didn't expressly tell us that part of the story.
How did Finland? Oh, that doesn't make
a goal differential.
How did Finland get
goal differential? So because
okay.
the USA won 1-0, and the Swedes, well, Finland was 1-1, but goal differential where the Soviets had a better goal differential, I believe. I don't know. I wasn't alive yet in 1980. I was negative 16. My dad.
Yeah, we were both non-existent yet, so it's fine. Okay.
I'm sorry. I knew that was an easy question, but a tough question.
All right. So this is a drawback to our conversation about the 1919 Chicago White Sox squad.
Okay.
So Charlie Robertson was the last surviving member of that team. In what year did he pass away?
I don't have the exact year. Do I get a range? Am I getting a buffer, or do I have to hit you with the exact year?
Yeah, give me the year.
I want to say it was 1968.
Sir, you're incorrect.
How much was I off by?
He died in 1984.
Oh, wow. I got... I'm not going to lie to you. That's insane. I'm pretty sure I also said when we recorded offline that the last guy was dead in 84. So.
That's why I put that question there, too. See if you remembered.
All right. So, this next question, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson before you actually get the question. So, in auto racing, there's one of the most famous races that happens, I think it's next weekend, actually, is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's in Le Mans, France. They had their own start. It was called a Le Mans start, where guys were outside the cars, and the first driver actually ran to the car and got in the car. So there was a little bit of a foot race. In what year did they stop doing the Le Mans start due to safety issues? They had been doing it since the early 1900s. What year did it stop?
Makes me feel like it's recent, but not recent. Oh, now you're putting random numbers in my head because of what you said offline of just a lot of pre-1940. Oh, man. Since I feel like if it was more recent, they said, fuck it, you're going to start in the car. I don't believe that. So we're going to go with 1939.
1970.
Ooh. Okay.
That was not one of my pre-1900s, my Great Depression era questions. Don't worry. They're coming.
Oh, don't worry. I have some more precise things for you to answer.
Nice.
Because a popular joke around the internet involves the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
Can you pinpoint the exact number of days since their last Stanley Cup victory?
I can't get it exactly, but I know the other day it was 2,184. I believe that was Monday. Today is Thursday, so I'd say 2,187.
It's been 2,000 2,000 days since 1967.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a Twitter account that's days since the Leafs won the Cup. I follow it. I will get you their exact most recent tweet. Hold on.
I'm looking. You said 2,000, right?
Since Leafs Cup at Twitter.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
I was off. It's 21,214. So I was a factor of 10 off. Otherwise, I was pretty close. Right. That was pretty good.
You know what? I can come up with another question if you want to avoid that one.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
That was
my favorite
part.
So I'm gonna retweet that from our account. I think my favorite stat on this tweet, if you're able to put that on the screen for the viewers real quick.
No, but I can read the whole tweet.
Yeah. So my favorite stat on here is the 1,924 days since losing to an AHL Zamboni driver.
Yeah, David Ayers.
That's probably.
He bugged.
Isn't that Carolina?
February 22nd, 2020. I bought that Hurricanes T-shirt that you've seen me wear is the David Ayers T-shirt. Hell yeah, I bought it.
That needs to make an appearance.
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the 1900 days. I was thinking about the 2020, the 1900 days. That's. But that one, I was like, I follow that Twitter account. I should know that one.
So let me follow that account from our account because we're just gonna.
That is my favorite Twitter account that exists.
That's a sidebar for another pod. Is our favorite Twitter.
All right. So Alex.
Ooh. I don't like that. The way you said that.
What?
It's fun.
Because apparently this is also sub-themed Toronto Maple Leafs trivia. Ironically. Who has played more playoff games since the year 2000 in the NHL? A, the Boston Bruins, B, the Toronto Maple Leafs, C, the Pittsburgh Penguins, or D, Corey Perry?
This is a trick question, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
The fact you put Corey Perry's name in there is a wild one. Well, also, my limited hockey brain knows that Corey Perry last handful.
Mm-hmm.
Bruins blow, especially lately.
Remember, this is since the year 2000.
Factual.
25 years.
No, but the Bruins had that run in the early 2000s where they were not pre-Bergeron. Those pre-Bergeron, pre-2011 years.
They were playing playoff games. They just weren't winning rounds.
Toronto was Toronto. Can I get the list again?
Yep. So it's the Bruins, the Leafs, the Penguins, and Corey Perry.
All right, so
I almost wanted to make you put them in order because it would have make you more angry.
I'm already confused enough about this, bro. So I feel like this is a trick question, so I'm gonna go with Corey Perry.
That is correct.
Okay.
Corey Perry has played about 30 more playoff games than the Penguins, and then they've played like 5 more than the Leafs, who have played like 2 more than the Bruins. The top 3 teams are the Leafs, the Bruins, and the Penguins, and I believe the Leafs were the high at 213. Corey Perry has played 240. I saw that stat the other day, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. That's going in trivia.
That's one of those, like, you could find that for any sport now. Like if you look hard enough, you could find that for, like...
No, I know, but I thought it was hilarious. I was like, I wanted to just put 4 teams, and I thought you'd be like, well, for the record, it's even harder because the Bruins, the Leafs, and the Penguins are so consistently in the playoffs over the last 25 years.
Yeah.
That was when I saw that, I was like, it can't be real. I thought it was a joke. So I actually researched it, and I saw that, and I was like, all right, I have to use that trivia question now. I have to use it.
All right. My next question is, in 2021,
Yes.
there were multiple teams that joined, right? But what team joined the IFL, you could say, in place of the Nebraska Danger?
So that's the Bay Area Panthers.
In 21?
Oh, 21. They were 22. The Panthers were 22 because they were my first year. My year in the league, right? You could say in place of it was the Naz Wranglers.
Oh, all right, I gotta fact check this.
I believe it was
the one
Naz.
question.
What was the answer you had? Because I know it's not Tulsa. I knew
My answer
it shouldn't have been
was the
Bismarck. I think multiple teams joined.
But the one I can't find where. Again, I used AI on this one.
I believe Naz also joined that year. I could be wrong. I don't know. Let's ask the Google.
Because my answer was the Massachusetts Pirates. You're thinking very literally.
No, wow. Then Naz has been around forever. 2009.
Can I even get a score on that game right now? No, I can't.
Okay.
Hold on.
I was wrong. You were correct. I will.
See, when you were naming other teams, like, this guy is thinking way too specific right now.
Well, because I was like, well, it's not going to just, all his questions aren't just going to be the Mass Pirates.
No, but it's funny that I had both of my Pirates questions back to back. So
yeah, you have them really close together. All right. Another event that happened recently, Alex.
Okay.
In what year did the tradition of the winner of the Indy 500 drinking a bottle of milk begin? Like, what is cited as the first year that someone did that? I'll tell you the race started in 1901. I will give you that factoid for free.
That narrows it down significantly, doesn't it?
Well, you only got about 125 years to guess from.
You know what? We're going to go with 1935.
You were incredibly close. It's 1936. This is why I asked if I was getting any leeway with my first year's question, because I was going to afford you the same leeway.
All right. So, this is a true or false question.
Okay.
The welcome sign to Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, has the prominent display of being the birthplace of Sidney Crosby on the sign.
True.
Does this sign also have an acknowledgement of Stanley Cup victory with the Colorado Avalanche?
You have to repeat that because it cut out.
So, while the welcome sign to Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, has the birthplace of Sidney Crosby prominently displayed, while having an acknowledgement to Nathan MacKinnon's Stanley Cup win. True or false?
That is true.
That is true.
I actually knew that for a fact because they love the fact they have two dudes that are just incredibly elite in the NHL.
Well, I saw the Leroy and Leroy video.
Uh-huh.
They were
in
front of it, and okay.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. All right.
Great video.
Who is the MLB player who has played for the most franchises in history? And I did fact check this with baseball.com, Baseball Reference this morning.
See, I have one name that comes to mind, like right off the rip. And that's
Okay.
Edwin Jackson.
That is correct. I actually thought you were going to go Octavio Datal because he is second, but Jackson passed him in 2018.
Because I use him in Immaculate Grid so much. Like, whenever I see like a rant, like when I see like the Diamondbacks and Diamondbacks White Sox, right? He pitched there.
I don't.
Just
He
as a
played all over the
example.
place. He played for what is it? It's like 19 teams. So he's a creative player at this point. Well, I mean, he's retired now, but as far as playing level. All right, you're up, bud.
Okay. So I gotta pull up this article that I had up. All right. So I have a whole list. I'm only gonna so you can give me 3 names. I'll go through the full list after. But can you name in total? There are 10 goaltenders that have played in the ECHL that have gone on to win the Stanley Cup. Can you name 3 of the 10?
All right. Let's go through goaltenders that I know. The problem is that a lot of them are going to wind up having been backups because my immediate answer I want to give you is Mike Smith, but he never won a cup. I know he played in the ECHL, but he never won a cup, I believe. Hold on. Let me run through his career. He never won a cup. Tristan Jarry, I believe, did.
This was an article. So actually, I should preface this. Hold on. So as of 2020, that's my bad. So
That's
as of October
fine.
2020.
The guys I'm naming would have been pre-2020. Tristan Jarry, I'm pretty confident he played in the ECHL.
Oh wait, no. This article has a 3rd rounder later, but
That's fair because realistically, you typically, if you're earlier rounder lining up in the ECHL, that's up until a couple years ago, probably a black mark on your career. Unfortunately, because I really want to say Mike Smith, but I don't think he won a cup. Let's see.
actually, I think
Crawford didn't play in the ECHL to my knowledge. Jonathan Quick, I know for a fact because he played for the Reading Royals.
1.
Jay Quick. Who else has won cups? Let's think of the teams. I don't think any of the Avs goalies played in the Coast. Braden Holtby?
Yep. So, yep. You got 2 of the 3.
Two of the 10.
2 of the 10, but you're
2
required to get the point.
Yeah.
3 for the point.
I'm trying to think of like the 2020 era goaltenders because that's going to be the guys. Fleury never played in the Coast. Let's see. Corey. No, I don't think Crawford played in the Coast. I've already gotten Quick. I've already gotten Holtby. 2019, the Cup winner was Vasilevsky. He didn't play in the Coast. Let's go back to the 90s. Hashik didn't play in the Coast. Ed Belfour didn't play in the Coast. Scott Wedgwood didn't play in the Coast. I don't think. Fuck it, Corey Crawford.
No.
All right, so who are the guys that I missed?
All right, so on
That's tough.
Flow Hockey, so this is on Flow Hockey. So I'll send you the link so you can look at this.
I believe that because that is official broadcast of the league, so I will. Now,
All right, so
I do want to fact check if Tristan Jarry played in the Coast.
Okay, so the list that Flow Hockey had prior to Coast, Jordan Binnington.
I should have known that. He played for Kalamazoo.
Holpe and Grubauer. So the pair.
Grubauer did. No, Jarry never played in the Coast. He only played for Wilkes-Barre. Okay.
Scott Darling. So I was looking at Scott Darling. Yep.
Who was
Jonathan Quick. And Martin Jones.
Oh, Martin Jones. I forgot he was a Cup.
And then Tim Thomas had a 6-game stint with the Birmingham Bulls. So I don't know if you want to count Tim Thomas on there, but
no, he's count. If you played, you count.
If you put and then Corey Schwab.
Okay. Yep. No, that's. I'm kicking myself because of Bennington. That was such a giveaway. Like I use Jordan Bennington so often because I know he played for the Kalamazoo Wings. The bad part, I can tell you who they friggin' played for in the Coast, for a lot of them.
And then Manny, just to wrap that up, Manny Legacy and David Abisher.
I forgot Legacy
too. Abisher.
I forgot Legacy. There were plenty of names that I should have gotten off that. All right. Your next question, Alex.
That was my question. It's your question.
For you to answer. Who is the NFL player that played for the most teams, and how many was it in his career?
Am I able to ask if he's a recent guy?
I can tell you have watched him play football. I will give you that piece of information.
I have watched him play the football, so okay.
Yep.
That only narrows it down to a few thousand, but okay.
You probably watched his whole career.
Okay.
And that probably gave it away.
So is he retired by now, or is he still going?
I cannot give you that answer.
Okay.
Because I think of purely because giving you that answer would give it away.
I think of quarterbacks. I think of guys that just bounce around. You know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the skill guys don't go as long as the quarterback. Kickers can go that long. I know the way
I need to name it a number.
I have to go number of teams too.
Yep. So actually, I will give you it. He is retired. I'll amend it. I will give it to you. He is retired.
I'm gonna go with like Josh McCown and 8.
So you were wrong on both counts. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick and 9.
All right.
By the way, I did not realize that Fitzpatrick had played for 9 teams, and then when I read the list, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, he played there. He played there. He played there. Yeah, that's 9 teams."
All right. I forgot what number question we're on.
That was my 8th.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So what was Tim Wakefield's lowest ERA in what season during his Red Sox tenure? So I need a number in a year.
So I want to say it was 435, 4.35. And I am going to guess, and I'm just going out on a limb here, that it was the 2010 season. And I don't think I got any part of that correct.
No, you weren't close. So in the year 2002,
Okay.
he had a 2.81 ERA.
That's impressive for a knuckleballer.
His first year with the Sox, he had a 2.95 in 27 starts.
Yeah. No.
He was third in Cy Young that year.
That blows my mind that he was third in Cy Young. Are you ready for another question, sir?
Since it's probably from before 1940, probably not.
Who won the 1911 college football national championship, and who was the team's quarterback? A hint for the quarterback: he is widely known for a non-football award.
Non-football. Jim Thorpe is the name.
So I need the team and the player.
I said Jim Thorpe for the player.
I won't tell you if you're right or wrong until you give me both parts.
School?
We have covered, by the way, we have covered who won this national championship in the last year. We talked about it. We've talked about this exact fact a couple times.
Jesus. The only one I think of is the Georgia Tech 222-0 game from 6, but that's.
So, final answer on a school?
What was it? Penn State, Jim Thorpe.
You are incorrect on both fronts. It is Princeton University, and it is Holby Baker. I said a non-football award, and you gave me the Jim Thorpe Award is given to a football player. I said an award not given to a football player.
All right, I can't. My hearing sucks.
I was like, hint, it's a non-football award, and you still picked an award that's given to football players.
All right, you know what? You better know your employer. You better know your employer's history very well.
I don't.
All right, so who did the Cincinnati Cyclones defeat?
Your mic cut out.
So, God damn it!
Which one?
Who did the Cincinnati Cyclones to win their first Kelly Cup?
Las Vegas Wranglers.
All right.
They, in fact, swept them. I walk by that every day. I walk by a plaque of it every single day.
There you go.
I believe they swept them. I could be wrong on that front, but I know they won. All right. My last question I have here, it's a soccer question. It's a British soccer question.
Okay.
You will get it wrong. Who was the first non-Premier League team, parenthesis, at the time of winning, to win the FA Cup? And it's happened exactly one time, according to everything I was reading. Because the actual parameters of the question, because they would be the first. Yeah, they were the first either way, so it doesn't matter. The parameters of the question. I can tell you they are currently a Premier League team. Just at the time, they were not in the association. By the way, it's also, I believe it's mentioned in Ted Lasso. And I know you watched the show, so that's why
I should. So I think of. I'm on 2 teams right now, right?
Okay.
I know Leicester won the Premier League just out of nowhere.
Yep.
One
So
year, just
remember, the FA Cup is the league, like the country's cup. So like all the teams in the country that play football compete for that cup. So like I said, they were not a Premier League side at the time they won it. They are currently a Premier League side.
Oh. They named a couple, but I know like one club was part of his storyline in Ted Lasso.
The Ted Lasso hit may have led you on the wrong path. I'm not gonna lie, because I think I know where you're going with this.
No, because where I went is where Nick ends up going, but that's definitely not it.
Because that's West Ham, right?
Yeah. It's like Crystal Palace.
I will give you points because the game was played at Crystal Palace. But I won't give you the actual point. It's Tottenham.
Oh.
The Hotspur.
Yeah.
West Ham is the second and only other team to do it, by the way.
Okay.
But it's Tottenham is the true correct answer. And it was 1900.
You know what? I'll give myself props for knowing.
But the game I was reading, the game was at not like Crystal Palace FC, but at the stadium known as Crystal Palace. So
yeah, because a lot of them are named for the team.
Yep.
I do like when I go to London. I do want to go into the stadiums just to see the scope.
But so the reason I said Ted Lasso, the first use of Ted Lasso, he was working with Tottenham for NBC Sports soccer coverage.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going with that. I believe this is your last question. By the way, we are not tied all time, but we are tied today because I started 1 point behind you, and I'm 1 point behind you right now.
So we're not going to overtime in this one, is what you're saying?
If I get this right, I mean, either way we can go to overtime because either we go to overtime for all time or we go to overtime for today.
All right. So we're going to just go back to your niche talent of naming obscure baseball players here.
Oh, shit.
So an outfielder who played in the 1930s and 40s went by the nickname of the ugliest man in baseball. What was his name?
You have this one so queued up. Just because I asked you questions about the 1940s doesn't mean you can ask me questions about the 1940s.
I had this saved. I forgot to write it, so I had to look it up. I had like partially. Oh, and this I have a hint, but it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, give me the hint that doesn't help at all.
I believe he fought in the war.
He fought in World War II.
I believe so.
Let's think about guys that fought in World War II. Ted Williams fought in World War II, but he's not the guy. Can you give me a hint? Can you name a team he played for? I swear to God. If you said
his first season. His first season was with the 1936 Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay, that changes things. I was like, you're going to hit me with like the St. Louis Browns, and it's going to be his last year of playing, and it's like, that's helpful. Dude. I mean, I'm tied with you either way, so I shouldn't be too stressed. It's not Pee Wee Reese. It's not Ham.
No, he retired and then came back. So I lied. He didn't.
Oh, he retired and came back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not him because he was never a. The ugliest man in baseball. The ugliest man in baseball. Does he have a funny name by chance? Would a 12-year-old laugh at his name?
Yeah, I think so.
It's Johnny Dickshot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I was like, I don't want to say that name. Like, I was like, it's not him. It's not him. It's not him. You had to give me the Dickshot question.
All right, I do have one more, but I feel like you'll get it.
I have two more for you if needed.
I think we should go to overtime if we're tied in total points, not if like.
Well, we are tied in total points.
Block. All right.
Because
Okay. Let me
you had me up until because it was 4-5, and as you can see now, it's 8-8. I had a much better showing this time than last time. Actually, not really. I answered the exact same amount of questions correctly. But that's neither here nor there. Would you like to ask your first tiebreaker question, or would you like me to ask my first tiebreaker question first?
You can ask me first.
Alrighty. Who was the first person in Toronto Maple Leafs history to be a 50-goal scorer in a single season? The first person.
Oh, I know that.
That's why it's a tiebreaker question. It's not supposed to be easy. Both of mine are hard. I won't lie. I need a name.
Like I know past Toronto Maple Leafs off the dome like that. We're gonna go with the oldest one I know and go with Ty Domi.
Incorrect. It is Rick Vive.
Oh, you work with this kid, don't you?
Yes. Technically. More importantly, the second person, I will give you this information for free, is Austin Matthews.
That sounds about right for that poverty franchise.
It's funny because they're a team that just spreads the puck out really well, so they don't have a. Also, 50 goals is insane, but he was the goal-scoring leader for the Leafs from the 80s until 2021 or 2022, when Matthews broke it. All right, you're up for your first tiebreaker question. Hopefully, we only need one.
In 1969, the longest punt in NFL history was recorded. How long was it?
88 yards.
98 yards.
I wanted to say 98, but I was like, no, that's too easy. That's too easy. All right. Second round of tiebreakers, Alex, and then if not, we'll have to defer to the chat.
All right.
This one is from this year, actually, like last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a very recent thing.
Okay.
Who won the Football League 2 in England this year? So that's the fourth division of pro soccer. Who was their champion this year?
Oh, okay.
By the way, I did mention it on my stream on Monday.
I didn't watch your stream on Monday.
Well, you had the answer. The study material was there. got to make up a side now, bud.
I'm just gonna make up town names in England until there's one.
When in doubt, guess places in New England because we're really crappy at naming places, and we just
You know what, let's go with Gloucester.
no, it is Doncaster. There is a Gloucester, there's a Boston, there is a Worcester that play professional soccer in England. But the Doncaster Rovers got promoted to League One, so they'll be in the 3rd division next year. I did actually talk about it on Monday during my stream, and I was like, "Oh, here's my last tiebreaker question," or at least a little bit.
99.7 is the 3rd highest quarterback rating since ESPN began tracking QBR. Name the quarterback.
99.7. Can I have the year?
Actually, no. This wasn't a quarterback.
So a player who played quarterback for at least one play got a 99.7.
I never said it was a quarterback either. Never said this guy played football.
Well, he had to play football to be tracked for QBR, first and foremost.
Until I explain this, like, I don't think you're getting this one. This happened the other day. This happened yesterday, or a couple days ago.
Happened yesterday.
It happened in the last Pacers. It happened in an NBA.
Oh, what's his face? We were talking about this yesterday in the car. It would be the equivalent of passing like 440-something yards and 70-0 on passing.
Yeah, no, I think I handed you that just by saying that. So
I don't remember his name, but I know that it was the Pacers player. We literally were talking about this in the car going to the career fair yesterday.
Just throw a name out there. See.
I don't even know who's on the Pacers these days. Is Halliburton on the Pacers?
Yeah.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, I gave you that. I kind of let you walk into that.
You did. When you were like, since they tracked QBR, I was like, so how I would have asked that question, I mean, you have to give me some points. To be fair, I did tell you that Holby Baker, the guy was a non-football award, and you still guessed a football player, like a football award. So.
Oh, do you want to know what my other question was?
Sure. You had a third question queued up?
Well, I had two. One of them was, what was the...
Yeah, hit me with the
What
other
was
one.
What was the original name for the Kelly Cup?
The Turner Cup.
Why did I say the Riley Cup?
Because you're correct. Because the Turner Cup was the IHL's championship tournament trophy, I believe.
And then my other one was, can you name teams in the 1986 Yankee?
In what, for the 1986 Yankees?
Could you name the 1986 the member school Yankee conference?
Member schools of the Yankee Conference in 1986.
Yeah, actually, I gotta make sure this is legit. Oh yeah, yes it is. Okay.
The Yankee Conference. So that's gonna be all Northeast schools. I already won, but
yeah, but I just want to see if you. I do want to see if you.
So you have Bucknell. You have Holy Cross. First of all, can you tell me how many schools it is before I start rifling off schools?
There's 8.
8, okay.
And my only other hint is that one of them is known for something else. Well, they're all two of them are very much known for. You say three of them are known for other things.
So 86 Yankee Comets. So I'm gonna guess Holy Cross, Bucknell. It's gonna be a weird one, but I'm gonna say Merrimack. I'm gonna say UNH.
That's the first one you got correct.
Really? Okay, so UNH, UMass Lowell. I want to say Mercyhurst, but I've been way off anyway. So, and Sacred Heart. Let me keep riffing schools and see if I can get any more of them. Have I been close on any of them?
You got UNH right. You got New Hampshire right.
So UMaine has to be the Yankee Conference.
Yep.
UMass Amherst.
Yep.
All right, now we're rolling. It's not Syracuse. Cornell? No, they're Ivy. Never mind. Syracuse. No, not Syracuse. UConn?
Yep.
Okay. So I have 4, being the 4 state. URI? Rhode Island, that is? All right, so I got the 5 New England schools. The 5 state schools knocked it out. It's not BC. It's not BU. Bentley?
No.
BU?
BU's in there.
Yep. I was like, it's not BU, but it is BU. I saw you make a face when I said not BU. All right, so I have 6 of them, being the 5 state schools and BU. So I need 2 more.
If I'm being fair, I believe the final 2 still play each other to this day.
Can I get the states of the final 2?
One of them is a direct answer.
What?
One of them is, if I say one, it gives it away.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm right. Okay, so the other 2 are in the same conference now. They're both in the CAA conference with URI and UN. So, basically, you could say that most of these schools have moved to CAA in the FCS.
CAA school.
CAA.
Yep. Without having the states, that's hard. Central Connecticut?
No.
Western Connecticut.
So one school is in Virginia, and then you got it.
So Butler.
Butler's in Indiana, but
I know it is, but I was gonna say with one school in Virginia, I'm gonna guess the other school's Butler.
The other school is not Butler.
Okay, so where's the other school? So one's in Virginia.
So, do you want me to just say the other 2 now?
I want to try to guess them. Give me the 2 states and let's see if I can guess them.
Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, if I say the other one, I give you an answer.
So it's Marshall.
But regionally, you're close. But by me saying Virginia, think in the region.
Virginia Military Institute.
Oh.
What?
Think about your... Okay. The alma mater of your favorite Browns quarterback, Joe Flacco, in Delaware,
Okay, so yeah, okay.
and then Richmond.
I always forget Richmond's a school.
Actually, I think I'm clipping this part
Why?
just because. Can you name the member schools? 1906 Yankee Conference.
Can we do this every week from now on? Each of us pick a random year in a random conference and try to get the other guy to name them 3 strikes from here on out. That's how we're gonna start every week.
Half.
3 strikes.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Dude, think about that being a weekly TikTok though, for real
That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm going with this.
Yes, sir.
All right. I think that's where we're gonna
All right.
end this because we've cooked.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now that we've officially cooked.
Oh yeah.
All right. As
All
always,
right.
thank you. We'll be back on Thursday. At
That is
about
the day of the week.
7:00.
Ish, yeah.
And
all right.
by the way, Alex, you're the first that's gonna have to guess the member schools. I'll give you a conference. I'll get a good one for you. Don't worry.
Will this be on the mid-year?
Always.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a night, bud.
Bye.